It's a sign of political strategy. The cops call it funny business. In a part of Denver about to undergo a huge transformation, there are already changes clogging up the roads. Started from the bottom, now he's here. A picture reminds a local comic book store owner how far he's come and where he's going. And meet an Imperial fighter pilot who's given a little light to the dark side. Next. It's a sign of some political funny business in North Glen. We were alerted to political yard signs that don't want you to vote for someone or an issue. They want you to call police. So we called on our Marshall Zellinger to find out what's going on.
What it says is call police if someone knocks on your door asking about your vote or ballot.
Wayne Dodge is in trouble for this sign, not for the fake certified seal and not with the police, with his wife.
I talked to Wayne and I said, "You don't know anything about this sign, correct?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I did the signs." Total blindside, and believe me, we've talked.
Carol Dodge is running for mayor in North Glen, the city where her husband printed and planted 5 of these call police signs, after he says 4 of his senior-aged friends complained to him about canvassers showing up at their doors.
And all of them had the same kind of thing, that if you need information, we're here to help. We'll help you do your ballot. Wanted to come inside, go through stuff with them, help them vote, and then take their ballot with them.
We double-checked with the Adams County Clerk and Recorder. If anyone other than an election judge helps you with your ballot, the law states they must fill out a voter assistance form. It is not illegal to have someone ask for and deliver your ballot, but even the Clerk and Recorder recommends turning yours in yourself.
I should have had it if you feel intimidated while they're asking about your vote and stuff.
Something funny happened while I was investigating this sign in the snow yesterday. A tipster suggesting this is a form of voter suppression directed me to where I could find the signs. Problem is, I drove past this intersection and it wasn't there. 5 minutes later, it was.
Huron and Naiad, right across from the fire station. Did you put that there?
I did not put that there, no. All the ones that I put up were gone. Now, have they moved elsewhere? I don't know.
So if you see them out there, ignore them. If someone comes to your door and bothers you, close it. And if it's intimidating, yeah, call police. And you can be assured that people will be knocking on doors leading up to the election. North Glen police said they got a complaint about this on Wednesday night and were looking into it, but it seems kind of to have resolved itself now. And here's an odd twist, Steve, is that Wayne owns a sign company, and he said he had to go to a sign company about a half mile down the street to produce this that fast, to get those signs out there. He just couldn't do it fast enough himself, didn't have the right equipment, so it spurned a little bit of business.
There you go. I was just saying, spreading the business around, spreading the wealth. Marshall Zellinger, thanks so much. Well, we have a public service announcement for young voters. Get it together. Learn about the issues. Fill out your ballot and turn it in. Only about 8,000 of those 18 to 25 have turned in their ballots in Colorado. Compare that to the almost 84,000 71 and over who have turned in their ballots, about 10 times more. But really, anyone who is eligible to vote should do it, not just the young people who are slacking off on their civic duty right now. Well, the opioid crisis in the United States was declared to be a nationwide public health emergency this week, which made us think about how Colorado plays a role in that. A pharmaceutical professor at the University of Colorado says the state is in the middle of the road as far as the overdose deaths go. But Colorado is higher in another category related to opioid abuse. It's called self-reported non-medical use, which really means people say they've used an opioid that was someone else's, or they use an opioid prescribed for them for something different than what they actually end up taking it for.
So we're worried that people here are willing to try those things and not think that it's, is quite as risky as it is, and they're willing to try it, and that we will have a higher rate of addiction because of all that non-medical use going on. So we're concerned about that, and then people don't end up non-medically using, then having a use disorder, then having overdoses, and then dying.
The professor says there's also concern because Coloradans seem to have a lower risk perception, which makes sense since Coloradans are typically daring anyway. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment says an estimated 224,000 Coloradans misuse prescription drugs each year. The neighborhoods of North Denver are feeling growing pains. We've profiled some of the folks who've been pushed out of the Globeville, Elyria, Eswancia by new development, that neighborhood. But that development brings another headache. And a Denver councilwoman shared a potential solution with our Eddie Randall.
To say the city of Denver is under construction is kind of an understatement. But North Denver is experiencing a construction overload.
We're starting to look at all the street closures that are going to be happening and not wait until they just happen.
An issue City Councilwoman Deborah Ortega says needs immediate attention.
Because this work needs to be happening like yesterday. How we manage the closure of the streets is absolutely critical for buses to get in here to get to Swansea School, RTD traffic for people who ride the bus to get back and forth to work.
They also have to think about emergencies.
Somebody has a heart attack in the neighborhood, we got to be able to have Station 9, which is a fire station in the neighborhood, that can get across and be able to serve the community.
She says the solution is proper communication, but that comes with a price.
It's going to cost about $300,000.
That's going to pay for software and staff to be in charge of communicating what streets will be closed to the community, so everyone can be prepared and not surprised. The North Denver Cornerstone Collaborative that oversees city projects in North Denver says they understand construction on Brighton Boulevard, along with other upcoming projects and developments, are having an impact on neighborhoods and commuters. They say they're working on a plan to fix the issues, and they're also looking for ways to pay for that plan.
This area of the city already has restricted access. As you can see, your north-south connections are going to be challenged once, this is under construction.
For Next, I'm Eddie Randall.
NDCC looking for ways to pay for that new communication. One option might be amending the 2018 budget, but that has to be done in the next 2 weeks. So is it tough to get busted getting high in the high country? An email from a viewer a few weeks ago got us wondering. There probably are quite a few people camping and toking on federal lands where marijuana is illegal. So we asked the Bureau of Land Management and the National Park Service how often people actually get caught. To make this as simple as possible, we'll only look at the year 2016. And we should point out, neither organization could give us the exact number of marijuana reports. They only had total drug incidents. That's arrests, citations, and warnings. Both agencies said most of these incidents do involve marijuana, though. We'll start with BLM, managers of 8.3 million acres in Colorado. Think of Browns Canyon and Canyon of the Ancients. They reported 52 incidents in 2016. The National Park Service reported 47 in that same year. To put it into perspective, in Denver, where smoking pot is legal, just not in public, police cited people 590 times for unlawful public display or consumption of pot. So you're more likely to get in trouble down the hill than you are if you head up it. And we got that data from the Bureau of Land Management and from the National Park Service and Denver Police Department. We have a lot more of it on the website if you're into that kind of thing. Danielle Grant tracking a nice weekend, but that will all change come the start of next week. The CEO of a Denver-based company talks about his past and how it made him who he is today. And there's dancing in the street in Greeley. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today was a closure notice for Trail Ridge Road and Rocky Mountain National Park. No more through travel for the rest of the season. It's already too snowy and too windy up there. Trail Ridge Road usually reopens for the summer the last week in May. The park is still open though, and so are some of the other scenic drives. It's still worth the trip if you're planning on heading up there this weekend.
Weekend at that. A little snowfall late tonight into tomorrow morning up in the high country here in the metro area. Just mostly cloudy skies sitting across the city late tonight. But hey, it's Friday night, right? Grab the jacket, head on out. We're in the upper 30s in Denver, Fort Collins, Greeley, about 41 in Boulder with those cloudy skies overhead. As we head toward this evening, a very weak disturbance will be pushing in the northern and central mountains, picking up maybe a couple of inches above about 9,000 feet. Tomorrow morning, we're dry here in the metro, much of the eastern plains. 5 o'clock, those snow showers showers beginning to wind down up in the mountains and then clearing skies late tomorrow night across the state. 1 to 3 inches, mainly above about 9,000 feet through early tomorrow morning. So if your day takes you to a basin or the Loveland ski area, you might find some fresh tracks out there. Temperatures will be warming tomorrow, still a couple of degrees shy of our average. 58, partly cloudy, a little bit of a breeze going. 50s and 60s along the eastern plains. It will feel so much warmer compared to the past couple of days. 60s further out to the west. We're going to hop up to 67 on Sunday. Above average, mostly sunny. Soak it in while you can, because late Sunday night into Monday our next storm system pushes through. This will bring us certainly some cooler temperatures, a little bit of light snowfall. It doesn't look all that impressive. And right now, maybe a few flurries early Tuesday morning. Steve, by the second half of the evening for Halloween, I think trick-or-treaters should be just fine. Maybe a little chilly, but it should be dry.
That's fine. Yeah. Just bundle up.
Good to go.
Thanks, Danielle. He was born Carl Wilhelm Sauer, but most know him as Chuck Rosansky, the founder and owner of Mile High Comics Incorporated, the largest comic book retailer in the United States. He posted a picture this week which reminded him of where he came from and told our Tom Cole how he got to where he is today.
Oh, it's very significant to me. I was living on so little at that time. I was getting clothes from out of dumpsters. I lived in a converted closet. I cannot wait each day to come into work, because there might be a 10-year-old kid who's been driving in from Ypsilanti and who wants to meet me. And I want to be there for that kid and do good things. You can start off with next to nothing, and that if you work hard and if you adapt, and I really think that that's a key element of things in life, if you adapt to a constantly changing world and you look around you and you try to figure out what's working that day, you can succeed. Wealth is the ability to move the needle in a positive direction. People have good fortune and bad fortune, and all of us are but one catastrophe away from homelessness ourselves. I'm building memories. It's all memories, and those memories are what mold us and make us who we are later in life. Very nice to meet you, and thank you so much for coming by to visit.
Over his 48-year career, Chuck has sold $200 million worth of comics, and he has a long way to go because his warehouse keeps filling up faster than he can sell. A new crosswalk in Greeley is helping pedestrians form a little pep in their step.
Not a lot of people recognize it until they're either right on top of it or until they've actually crossed all the way over.
And we'll introduce you to our new friend Cole, who has hands down the coolest Halloween costume ever. All thanks to a man named Mr. Mike. Next. There's a new crosswalk in the city of Greeley. A few of you probably saying that is not news. It doesn't sound too exciting until you learn the crosswalk isn't just like any other crosswalk.
I always think that the crosswalks look pretty sharp. When we installed them, we sure hoped they didn't fall flat. We found that most of the public is tickled with the installation. Not a lot of people recognize it until they're either right on top of it or until they've actually crossed all the way over.
This is piano keys. I think it's cool that it's a piano because the park is musical.
With the music theme of the park going in right in a very similar timeline and the music connection to our downtown with music every night, it just seemed like a very natural fit for the area.
We're from Broken Bow, Nebraska. I mean, we have crosswalks, but not piano crosswalks.
Did it make any sound for you?
No.
There has been talk about dubbing a video with a little bit of that big sort of feel on it. You know, I work in this building every single day, and I have not witnessed any kids playing in the street.
I think it's really neat walking up to the Performing Arts Center. There would be something musical. No, we never seen anything like this.
It's all about fitting the right atmosphere within the right location.
Tell you what, that's greatly unexpected. Well, if you've been watching Next for a while, you may recall the couple in Westminster who kept getting knocks on their door from random strangers. People just wanted to buy the 2002 Subaru with a broken roof rack sitting in their driveway. The Subaru was not for sale, but that didn't stop people from asking about it. Now, fast forward from February until now, where 9 News photojournalist Chris Hansen found a very similar looking Subaru, very much for sale. You saw it in Denver's Cap Hill neighborhood. It's also a 2002 Subaru. The owner selling it says it's an A-plus winter car with 158,000 miles on it. It's also a manual, which is important to note if you do not know how to drive one like me. So the takeaway, there are Subarus very much for sale in Colorado, but don't go knock on a random door when you see one parked in a driveway. May I make a recommendation? Part of the show where we point you towards something, anything that is not ours but is worth your time. There's a cool event going on at Tivoli Brewery tomorrow supporting the Fallen Hero Foundation. They brewed a beer with Tivoli called the Fallen Hero Red Ale. Proceeds from it support the mission to help Colorado agencies who experience a line of duty death. They also provide support for families at that time. Plus, it's beer, so it shouldn't be too hard to twist your arm to show up and buy something. A kind neighbor who surprised an 8-year-old with a very special Halloween costume. Next. It is Friday, which means we like to finish out your week with some good news. This week, our good news comes from Parker, where an 8-year-old named Cole has a pretty awesome Halloween costume to show off and an even better story behind it. He's the friendliest fighter pilot you will ever meet.
Hello, my name is Cole, and I'm a TIE Fighter pilot for Halloween, and Mr. Mike made me this cool TIE Fighter.
Now that you met Cole, you ought to meet Mr. Mike. Mike Fernandez. Cole calls him a neighbor who's more importantly a friend. And friends don't leave friends hanging on Halloween.
Thank you to Mr. Mike.
You see, Cole has spinal muscular atrophy, moves around in a wheelchair. You can imagine that being a bit of a bummer on Halloween, unless you have a Mr. Mike to make a few upgrades.
I'm going to show you around now.
Mr. Mike provided the fighter. Cole provides the soundtrack. And maybe the Empire might have survived had they had this kind of firepower.
Fire!
That's Cole's mom taking laser fire there. She and her husband hope to pass this costume around in the SMA community so another child can experience this kind of joy. Because for at least a weekend, all of the struggle that Cole has endured is in a galaxy far, far away.
Now I'm on fire!
Cole is trunk or treating tonight in his costume at Frontier Valley Elementary School in Parker. He'll also wear it in his school's parade. And on Halloween to trick or treat on Tuesday. His mom says Cole drives his wheelchair like a driver for NASCAR, so she hopes the costume makes it through all of those showings. And the world needs more Mr. Mikes. We'll see you next time.